All right. Hi, everyone. Hope you're good. Hope you're well. Hope you're fantastic. Our topic will be the elasticity of demand and supply. So let's get to. So elasticity allows us to analyze demand and supply with greater precision. But how? What is it? What is elasticity? Now, elasticity is a measure of how much buyers and sellers respond to changes in market conditions. Say you walk into Tesco, you walk into Sainsbury's, you walk into Aldi, and prices have risen. What might be your reaction? You might reduce consumption of that commodity. You might move to another commodity. You might defer consumption. Okay, or what happens if your income rises? For instance, you might buy more of a product or you might buy less of a product. Say for luxury items or items you want more of, your income rises, you want more. But for inferior goods, your income rises and you want less of it. Elasticity allows us to measure how this happens with greater precision. So let's see how it does that. So like we said, elasticity allows us to analyze supply and demand with greater precision. Okay? Say you walk into Tesco and the price of your favorite commodity has increased. What would be your reaction? Normally, when price goes up, demand goes down. But we can measure by exactly how much demand goes down via this concept of elasticity. So we can actually mathematically determine by how much, precisely how much demand would have gone down. And that is what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. So the price elasticity of demand is a measure of how much the quantity demanded of a good responds to a change in the price of that good. So the key item is how much. How much the quantity demanded of a good responds to a change in the price of that good. And this is why the formula for calculating the price elasticity of demand is percentage change in quantity demanded. So this sign here is a change sign, okay, divided by percentage change in price. Okay, so what is changing? Quantity demanded is changing as a result of price. We can also calculate the income elasticity of demand. Okay, that will be percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in income. So what's changing here? Demand is changing because of a change in income. We can also have a cross elasticity of demand. Percentage change in quantity demanded of good X divided by percentage change in price of good Y. So what is changing? Quantity demanded of good X is changing because of a change in the price of good Y. Okay, so you should get familiar with this and it will definitely help. Now, what are the determinants of a price elasticity of demand? The availability of close substitutes. So remember, if you have close substitutes, then if the price of one commodity goes up, you can easily substitute it with another commodity. So you might have high elasticity. The cost of switching between different products. If the cost of switching is low, then you can easily move towards the new commodity. So you might have a high elasticity in that case. Necessity versus luxury items. If it's a necessity item, then you might still stick with it even though the price goes up, okay? Versus a luxury item, you might decide to do without it. Percentage of your income allocated to spending. So remember what we said about income elasticity. If you use a large proportion of your income on that product, if the price goes up, you will be sensitive to that. Time period allowed following a change in price. Okay, so if the time period is longer, of course, you have more time to make up your mind. You have more time to shop around and look for a better deal, and you might have a higher price elasticity. Whether the good is subject to habitual consumption, if it's an addictive good, if it's a good you use every day, your price elasticity of demand might be lower because you use it every day. Peak or off-peak demand, so things like parking, things like electricity, cell phone usage, at some point, you might not even care about the price because you have to use it during that period. And the breadth of definition of a good or service. If it's a good or service that everyone uses, if it's like water, a good that is universal, your price elasticity might be lower as well. Once again, elasticity allows us to analyze supply and demand with greater precision. Okay, we can actually put a number on it. Okay, and that is why it's so exciting. It's a measure of how much key. By how much buyers and sellers respond to changes in market conditions. For instance, price, income, or substitute goods. Okay, so let's look at elasticity from the concept of price. Price elasticity of demand is a measure of how much the quantity demanded of a good responds to a change in the price of that good. So this is what we've been talking about, ladies and gentlemen. So by how much would the quantity demanded of a good respond to a change in the price of that good? So you walk into Tesco, the price has gone up. By how much would your demand reduce, or maybe for some reason increase? And that will help us to calculate the price elasticity of demand. This is the formula here. It's a very fantastic formula. It's just calculated by the percentage change in quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in the price of that product. So by how much does your quantity increase or decrease? Percentage change in quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in the price. This is also identical to that. Okay, so you have your quantity demanded in period 2 minus your quantity demanded in period 1 over your quantity demanded in period 1 times 100. That would give you your percentage change in quantity demanded. All right, divide the whole thing by price in period 2 minus price in period 1 over your price in period 1 times 100 again to make it a percentage, and that would give you your percentage change in the price of a product. Let us have an example. Okay, so here I'll just put it in context. So here you have your P1 and your P2, right? So you can just plug this into your formula. Okay, so your P1 over here, that's your price in period 1. Okay, your P2, price in period 2. Okay, your Q1, quantity in period 1, and your Q2. Okay, so it's Q2 minus Q1 over Q1 times 100 divided by P2 minus P1 over P1 times 100. So that would give you your percentage change in quantity demanded over your percentage change in price. So quantity demanded is affected by price. All right, let's have an example. So let's calculate the price elasticity of demand for this first change in price. Okay, now let's see what's happened. Price has changed from £10 to £9, and as a result, the quantity demand has increased from 5 units to 6 units. Now, you can tell from our formula that the price elasticity of demand is simply the percentage change in quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in price, which is this, and it will give you this. But let's use our formula to solve it, just so you can understand better. Okay, now, what is our Q2? Our Q2 is our second quantity, so our new quantity, which is 6 over here, minus our old quantity, our previous quantity, which is 5, divided by our old quantity, once again 5, times 100. That will put in percentage. So Q2 quantity in period 2 minus Q1 quantity in period 1 over Q1 quantity in period 1 times 100. Okay, now let's look at our denominator. So it's P2, our new price, which is £9, 9, minus P1, our previous price, our price from period 1, which is 10, over P1, our previous price, which is also 10, times 100. What does this give us? 6 minus 5 is 1. That's 1 over 5 times 100, divided by 9 minus 10 is minus 1 over 10 times 100. 1 over 5 times 100, that's 20. So that goes to 20% over there, the one you have up here, divided by minus 1 over 10 times 100, that's minus 10. That's our minus 10 that's over here. And then get that, and then the price elasticity of demand will be minus 2. So price elasticity of demand for the first period is minus 2. That's how we get it over there. Now, the key to all of this, of course, is this formula over here. So you will have to memorize this formula and get familiar with it. Or if you just know that the price elasticity of demand is your percentage change in quantity demanded divided by your percentage change in price, you will be fine. But you will have to know this formula and apply it, practice it, and you will be fine. Now, for your class activity, find this elasticity of demand. So for the second one here, and also the third one over here. So this is your class activity. So do this, calculate the price elasticity of demand at this point and at this point over here. Okay, so for your second change in price and for your third change. Right. So the most important thing is to know this formula. You compute the price elasticity of demand by dividing the percentage change in quantity demanded by the percentage change in the price of the product. Now, you have a negative sign if your demand curve is downward sloping for normal goods. So remember, for normal goods, price goes up, quantity demanded goes down. So there is a negative relationship. So you usually have a negative sign in the front of a price elasticity of demand answer for a normal good. So it's negative because of the relationship of a normal good with price. Price goes up, quantity demanded goes down. On the other hand, for your luxury items, remember, for your luxury items, because you think price is an indication of value, when price goes up, what happens to demand? It increases as well. So the price elasticity of demand sign at the end of it usually has a positive sign. Okay, so the answer is usually positive if your demand curve is upward sloping. So for your luxury items, your price elasticity of demand usually has a positive sign. Now, it's also possible to calculate income or cross-substitute elasticity using the same formula. So what do we mean by income elasticity? It's simply the percentage change in quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in income. Okay, so the reason why quantity demanded is changing in this instance is because there is a change in income, not because there's a change in the price of the product. So our denominator here will be the percentage change in income. How about your cross elasticity? You calculate that by a percentage change in quantity demanded of good X divided by the percentage change in price of good Y. Say for instance, you have a change in the quantity demanded of Coca-Cola because of a change in price of Pepsi. Okay, so this is percentage change in quantity demanded of Coca-Cola divided by percentage change in price of Pepsi. So you see, the change is not brought about because of a change in price of your commodity. It's brought about because of a change in the price of another commodity. So for substitute goods, for instance, this might be high because if the price of Pepsi falls, for instance, more people might stop consuming Coca-Cola and then stop consuming Pepsi. So you might want to calculate this, okay? Formula, once again, very easy. Here are some price elasticities of demand that you should know because they will help. The first one is demand is perfectly inelastic if the elasticity of demand is 0. So what happens in this condition is that the quantity demanded remains constant when the price changes. So think about it. Price can change, price can rise, price can fall, but quantity demanded remains constant. It doesn't matter what happens to price. So elasticity is 0. The responsiveness of demand to price changes is 0. So your demand is perfectly inelastic, right? It doesn't matter what happens to price, quantity demanded remains constant. Second condition is inelastic. So you're talking of a condition when the elasticity of demand coefficient is between 0 and 1. Okay? What happens in this condition? The percentage change in quantity demanded is less than the percentage change in price. So quantity demanded changes, but less than the percentage change in price. So you have some responsiveness, but it's not as much as the change in price. The third condition is demand is unitary elastic if the elasticity of demand equals 1. What happens in this condition is the change in quantity demanded is directly equal to the percentage change in price. So you increase your price or you reduce your price and the percentage change in quantity demanded is directly equal to that increase or reduction in price. So everything cancels out. You increase your price, quantity demanded goes down by exactly the same proportion. You reduce your price, quantity demanded goes up by exactly the same proportion. So you have unitary elasticity. Demand is elastic if the elasticity of demand exceeds 1. So what happens in this condition is the percentage change in quantity demanded is more than the percentage change in price. So price does go up, okay? Quantity demanded goes down, but it is by more than the percentage change in price. So you want to be careful with that one. Demand is perfectly elastic if the elasticity of demand is infinite. Okay, think about it. Infinite, like Eminem's album. Okay, so what happens in this condition? Now, you increase your price, but the response is great. It's by such a proportion that you don't want to do it. So the responsiveness to a tiny change in price is infinite. Okay, so your price barely changes, but the reaction is so great that you don't want to do it. So think about a perfect market, perfect competition. Everybody knows the price. So everybody knows that this item, say salt, is being sold for 10 pounds. Now you can go to person A, person B, person C, it's sold for 10 pounds, right? What will happen if you increase the price of your salt to 10 pounds, 1 penny? Think about it. Everybody's going to leave because why should they buy your salt? It's the same salt and it's being sold for a cheaper price somewhere else. So you have perfect elasticity. So the quantity demanded changes by an infinitely large percentage in response to a percentage change in price or when the price barely changes. Now, the important thing to do now is to get familiar with this formula, okay? So Q2 minus Q1 over Q1 times 100, P2 minus P1 over P1 times 100. Okay, so percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. So do your class activities, get familiar with this, because you will have to do this throughout economics, in your assessments, and in real life. So you might want to know by how much the percentage change in quantity demanded would increase or reduce if you fiddle with your price. So this is very important. So do these class activities and I will see you later, alligator. So do these two and I will see you later. Okay, key learning points. The concept of elasticity of demand and supply measures how sensitive demand supply is to a change in variable. It could be price, it could be income, it could be the price of another variable. And please, 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 I cannot highlight this enough. Learn these formulas and get familiar with them. Okay, so learn it. Percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. Do this. This is your elasticity formula. Get familiar with this and you will be fine. I will see you later. Have a fantastic week. Bye for now.